Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all so much for coming in. This is Shikikan Frontline, episode 10, where we did miss last month, I think the month of July, just because I just personally had a lot of things going on in life. But we are here with episode 10. Hopefully we can catch up on some things. I noticed one or two things that kind of jumped out at me. They were a little unfortunate, a little annoying, and they make me a little curious. And so hopefully we can talk about that today on this episode of Shikikan Frontline. I do know that on top of that, we do have the collaboration, the Valhalla collaboration to talk about. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into this episode. So starting off, there is something that I do want to kind of throw back to. It is going to be July's monthly roadmap. Now on here, we did have the Cube and Cube Plus for the month of July. That was kind of our event that was supposed to keep us relatively busy during that month. Now, one thing on here, and that it doesn't really specify, was that we were going to get the campaign for being able to replay Arctic Warfare. Now this is just something that's, in my opinion, it could be like minor to like medium size, but to me, I mean, unless you just did it just simply for the fact of like, the picture looks good the way it is and you don't want to add in anything else, okay, then yeah, I can understand that part. But aside from that, I'm not really too sure why you wouldn't add that into saying like, hey, we're going to make Arctic Warfare replayable so that way you can do the story mode, that way you can, experience it. You might not get the same drops that were in there while it was live, but to me, it irritates me why you would not say anything like that on the roadmap. And, they did release that during the month of July with Cube being there, and it was a relatively slow month, and so I wasn't really expecting anything out of it. So I was like, man, I just didn't understand why you wouldn't say it, why you'd hide it, or, whatever the case was. It just threw me for a loop. Maybe I missed a memo somewhere, but it was just something that was really annoying to me. And it kind of makes me think, okay, well, if the, campaign mode or the 7.5 for Arctic Warfare was something that y'all didn't feel that y'all should have talked about, but y'all talked, or mentioned rather, but you mentioned like the official 4 Coma Volume 5, or, come on, man. That's just something that irritates me. I don't understand why they wouldn't say or mention the Arctic Warfare campaign mode being available. I think that that's something that it's like, hey, that's some new stuff. What if people are like, man, I missed out on Arctic Warfare. I don't want to join back until I see it available or I see it live, so that way I can read its story and then continue playing. And then, they never see it on the monthly roadmap, and they're like, well, darn, it's something that they don't really care for. And I'm just like, man, it's something that's it's just annoyed and bugged me ever since that it came out. And so, I kind of wanted to use this opportunity, use this moment to just kind of talk about it, because it really did just kind of irritate me. Then moving on to the roadmap for August, which is we are a little over halfway done with August, but if you haven't seen it, we do have the collab event for the first thing. Then they have the resupply for it to give us the skins and such. Then we'll have the rerun with Clin's costume package. Then we have the combat simulation, where all of them are going to be open every single day. If you haven't been taking advantage of it, then that is unfortunate. That's a lot of missed data. Then on the 5th one, they're going to have new facilities for pets in the dorm, which, I mean, new pets, great. It's going to be cool for the upcoming stuff. That'll be whenever we get it for EN or for Global. But for right now, it's just kind of meh. It's cool, but it's not really too... I want to say relevant, but I feel like that's not the right word. It's just not the most important thing out there right now. Then we do have the new point event reward with the 5-star rifle T-Doll. I've got no idea who that is. So I guess we'll see in due time. So one thing that I did want to talk about, and I cannot remember for the life of me if we mentioned it when Dumplings was on the last podcast, and we were just kind of talking and ranting about some stuff. This is something that I've noticed, to me it feels like they'll turn around and hit us up with the 3 combat sims, or they'll give us, general rate up, or they'll give us logistics frontline, whatever the case may be. But this one in particular, during the opening of unrestricted access, it always makes me wonder, why do they not just leave it continually open? Because they're on the days when it's not data, I'm just like, well, this sucks, because now I gotta go do the defense drill, and then I'm missing out because of the capsules. I don't want to I don't want to get too many capsules, or I don't need to do EXP, so I'm not going to do that. And so it just feels like, for me personally, I'm not speaking for everybody, just me personally, it just feels underwhelming to just have to turn around and be like, well, got my combat sims. Oh, it's not a day to day? Darn, this sucks. Because there are some days where I turn around, just do 4 capsules on the basic training, and then just call it a day. I think opening it up for the entire time would be something that would be just a nice quality of life thing for them to do. Again, why they don't do it, why they want to keep it locked down, hey, that's on them. I can't do nothing about that. It really do be like that sometimes, but it's just one of them things you just hate to see. Again, I can't, for the life of me, I couldn't remember if we talked about that when Dumplings was last here, but if we didn't, that's just one of the things I want to bring to mention, and just be like, man, that's something I wish would be open all the time, so that way it didn't feel like so underwhelming or so undervalued on the days when it's not data. So before we go into the collaboration things, I did want to highlight a few dorms that were posted. The first dorm is going to be from Yam. Now, being in the summer-ish months, I felt like this was a nice little picture, a nice little dorm that we did have submit to the podcast dorm showcase area. And of course I saw multiple different dorms that had the entire summer set, just a lot of good summer themes. This is one of them that I was like, hey, looks nice, looks fun. I definitely wouldn't mind being there, because hey, beat that summer heat, God bless. The second dorm that I did want to show off was from Shrimp FL. Don't know what the FL stands for, but he did have a rather interesting caption. It does have something to do with what I would assume these are. I don't know if these are photographers or videographers, but he did say something to the effect of, we're taking interesting photos or interesting videos of of the theme of this dorm, and I'm gonna let y'all use y'all's imagination for this one, because we had a similar one where it was somebody had a hot tub, and then I think it was from the wedding one where you had all the light, I guess the light stands or the light poles or whatever it was that would shine down onto it. Then they had some videographers, and somebody was in the little hot tub, and then they had the same photographers or videographers, and I was like, you know what? Well played indeed. One thing also that I do want to mention was in that top right-hand corner, or to the right-hand side, I didn't notice this until just now, that octopus has FAO there. Again, for your own imagination. I'm going to leave that alone. So, the last dorm that I do want to show off is going to be Bigley in his dorm. Now, I thought that this was, good timing. We had a kind of a funny one. We had a summer theme one, and then we had a good looking Valhalla one as well. I don't know if this is the entire set. I don't know if that's anagram next to that fan on that bottom left-ish hand side. I don't know who that is, but I mean, it's a nice themed dorm, especially for the Valhalla collab. And to be honest with you, it brings me right into a great segue, because we do have the Valhalla stuff to talk about right now. Man, isn't that insane how that works? It's a beautiful thing. God bless. So, again, with the Valhalla, we have that for this entire month, and it does go for a little bit longer than that. You see 731 and 9-2. That if you do log in for those 7 days, these are the login bonuses that you'll get. I'm not going to go over these. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. And I mean, that 7th day, you get that furniture counter cutout board. I think it's cool. Try to get, for me personally, when we have the collabs, I always try to get as much of whatever is collab related, even if I have to take a hit on whether it be batteries, combat reports, tokens, whatever. If it allows me to turn around and get anything that is collab related, I think that is just more value there, just because we don't know if we're ever going to get it again. And so I think that that makes it very worth it. So this is going to be the login rewards. Now we'll just go ahead and start going and just talking about these all one by one, just as we saw them. So with the Valhalla collaboration, we did have the intel points and bartending stories. Now basically, if you noticed, when you were playing, or if you haven't played yet, you'll notice that each stage you have to unlock it with intel points. You can get those intel points by going to the cafe, and you'll read story. You might do a little bartending in the cafe underneath that dorm, and you'll see that that's how you're going to get those intel points. Now, if you do decide, hey, I don't care about the story, to be warned, you won't ever get to read it again, because you don't get to skip it. You don't get to reread it either. So if you care, if you're saying, hey, I might care about it down the road, you might want to care about it right now, or set aside some time so that you can read those stories. Otherwise, you will be SOL once, you finish the story. So there is no autoplay, so that way you can just read it along. You got to do it manually on every single click, so it is a little unfortunate on there. But I do like this, I guess, this idea of the intel points. I think I saw that for Isomer was the first time that I saw it personally. I thought that it was really cool. Hey, you got to do certain things. You get the intel points. You choose what stage you want to unlock, and then that kind of shows you the story for it yourself. At least, of course, that's what I thought was going on. Again, Korean streams, I can't read Hangul. I don't know what was happening, but that's what I thought was happening, and that's what we gonna roll with. And so having the intel points hit us a little bit earlier than Isomer is really cool, because I thought that was a neat little thing. Instead of just being like, hey, you can do this, and then you're done. It says, hey, you can come over here. Now you got to come over here, read a little bit of story, a little bit of extra story, do a little some. Then you can come back to it. A nice little change of pace was always very, very much welcome. And one thing that I really did like about this part is that when they did the cafe part, they did make it the Valhalla version. They had Jill there behind the counter, and she was making the drinks. It was something that was really, really fun for me, in my opinion. Then for the next one, I do want to talk, of course, about mixing drinks. I'm just going to read this on that third one. It says, add the desired amount of ingredients to the shaker by tapping the icons on the right-hand side and press the mix button. Pressing the button again immediately will finish mixing. If you wait a few seconds until the shaker starts to move faster before pressing the button again, the ingredients will be blended instead. So that way you can make mixed drinks or blended drinks. Now that will come in handy down the road. You'll have to say, hey, if it's on the rocks, you got to add the ice. If they want it aged, you gotta click that. The one thing for me that was a little underwhelming, or a little unfortunate, or a little however you want to call it, is that I wish we could have made more mixed drinks. Whether it be, hey, you got to make 3 different types of drinks, and you got to get it's a timer. Of course it would be a lenient timer. So let's say you got to make 3 drinks in, say, a minute and a half or something. So that way you can find it, whether it be by name, flavor, or type, and go through there and do that. But it was something that was, hey, make one drink and that goes to that one person. Of course, it goes along with the story very well, but the mixed drink aspect I thought was extremely fun. I thought it was cool, and I was really hoping, like, man, hey, let me get behind that counter, whip up, make a little something happen, have a little magic in the kitchen or magic in the bar, and whip up some drinks. But I wish we could have seen a little more action with that. But hey, I don't know what the business is behind the scenes, or what they were doing or not doing with the other game company. So I mean, hey, I'll take what I can get. That little one drink in a story at a time. I'm not even gonna say a little. It was underwhelming for me, but it definitely was fun. I would assume that they do that a lot more in the actual Valhalla game. I don't know anything about it, but if that's what it's about, then hey, I could see that being pretty fun, because it was pretty nice. Moving forward onto the next one. Now we'll talk about the actual maps. We did have console and defense gates in this collaboration. Excuse me. Now, my first time again, I saw this in Isomer. I believe we only had the gates in one map, and I will say I did that map offline. I did a lot of the maps offline. I'd probably say like half of it I did for the story on stream. The other half I did for myself, and I think I did the EX for myself off stream. And so when I got to this console and defense gate, I went in there. Of course, I did the entire thing blind, because that's what's most fun for me. And so as I get there, they go to a part where I think you have like 4 or 5 doors in a row. I don't know how you're supposed to. I don't know if there's a way to open every single door. I don't know if you're not supposed to open every single door. But I'm going to tell you what I did. It was pretty scuffed. I had like 1, 2, 3. I had like 5 teams, maybe 6 teams out on the field. One was controlling that bottom left-hand side. I had 2 over here. I had one be a test dummy, and I had to retreat him one echelon be a test dummy. Then I had 2 more teams that ran me forward. Let me just say that console and defense gate thing was so confusing. I probably spent a good 45 minutes on this stage alone, just trying to figure it out. Now, one thing I will say is, if you go to that the console and defense gate, and you'll see that it'll pop up a little screen on the left hand side of whatever platform that you're playing on. You can have a little eye. If you click that eye, or I think it was tap and hold or something to that effect, it'll tell you what it does. For some reason, no matter how many times I went through, I couldn't open all the gates. And so I just took a hit, and I was like, man, you know what? Dude at the top wouldn't move. And so I just said, look, I'm going to go kill him with I think I had 25% health on the entirety of the echelon. And I think that was 2 dummy links, maybe 3 dummy links. It was a tough fight. I was very close to losing. But hey, we got it done, and that's all that matters. Console and defense gate, it was definitely something that was a nice gimmick. I like it. I hope that we get to see it in the future. I know we will in Isomer. But that was something that was so confusing for me. And I was like, hey, if this is confusing now, it can only get better. Because the difficulty, even if it stumps me, I always like that medium high to high low on difficulty. I don't like the high difficulty, because okay, hey, hey, we out here, but we ain't that out there. So having some difficulty to make me sit down and think for a good 45 minutes, close to an hour on one stage, I like that a lot. And so this was something that I really enjoyed on this collaboration. Then we did have a stage where we had an abandoned Goliath. Basically, it's a bean that's defected or defective, and so you had a bunch of red beans, and you take this little defective gray bean or black bean or whatever, and you throw it, and it destroys all the other beans. That's all it does. It's a one-time thing. So what I did for that map, I made sure I had as many moves as possible. I made sure I had everybody as close up as possible. And then when I threw the bean, I moved everybody inside, so that way I was able to cap it in one go and didn't have to worry about any other red beans. Now, if you want to play it another way, hey, by all means, do you, boo. I'm just saying what I did for myself. Now, that mechanic, it was cheesy. Of course, it worked. That's all that matters. I thought it was cool, but it's not something that I think I'd like to see in every single, thing. Like, oh, hey, man, I gotta go run over here, and then I gotta use this black bean that's defective to kill all these red beans by this turn, and then I gotta go get this one by this turn. I don't know about all that. There's a difference between, being difficult and just being tedious. And so hopefully it's not in there super a lot, but we can only wait and see. I did think this was pretty cool. It was definitely interesting seeing it for the first time, because I looked at it and I said, look, I don't even know how to throw it. I don't know what it's going to do. And so when I saw it, and just blow everything up, I thought that was really, really cool. And just to let y'all know, the way you do throw it is once you get close enough, it'll pop up just like the defense gate, and it'll say throw it. You throw it, you just tap the throw out, and then boom, it explodes everything. So that was it was nice. Moving on to the next one, we'll talk about the rewards of what we can get from the Valhalla collaboration. So basically, I believe we can get a total of 60 White Knight fragments, White Knight armor fragments every single day. I don't know the math on it. Excuse me. I don't know the math on it, if you can clear out the shop or not. I do know. Let me take that back a second. I believe so, that they give us 120 fragments for free through the mail. I think one of them was just because of courtesy one. One of them was for some type of error. But they said they're going to give us those fragments after the collab is done. If they stick to it and they actually remember, okay, fantastic, then we get more. But, again, I don't know if we can get everything. So, on this list, there are 2 pictures for the available rewards. We'll go over these. So we do have a background, welcome to Valhalla. I believe that is going to be the ID background, and that'll be just what the friends can see. So, it's not going to be, on a main screen, where the adjutant is. It's just going to be for the friends only. Then we're going to have beer on discount, which is basically a better combat report, a stronger, more potent combat report. We'll have the Mulan tea, which boosts affection. Think about like your strawberry cheesecakes, your lollipops, but on steroids. Then we're going to have batteries. Then on the bottom portion, you can see that we'll have icons as well, just from different characters throughout the story. In my opinion on this, sack the batteries. I don't think they're going to be that important. Also, if there is something else that you gotta sack in order to get more stuff, sack the Mulan tea. It's affection. I don't even know how many people are out there affection farming. And if you are, just do it daily. You just click the little hearts and call it a day. It is not that serious, so don't treat it too serious. I think if you can get rid of any of the 2 things from this, it's gonna be them batteries, and it's gonna be that Mulan tea. The beer on discount, in my opinion, very nice, just because of how much EXP it'll give you. But I digress. We'll move on to the next one. List of rewards that we can get. Now we can get, on this one that you can see, it's going to be Dorothy Hayes and Alma. Of course, those are characters. Why would you not get them? Just get them, okay? Then we'll have the Rad Shiba pet. Then we also will have the Anagram Fairy. But with that, there are going to be 3 Anagram Fairies. Moving forward to the exclusive equipment, we'll have equipment for Dana only, Dorothy only, Sai only, Stella only, and Alma only. You'll obviously want to pick those up so that way, they can do their thing and, hey, make magic happen for those characters because it is their exclusive equipment. Why wouldn't you want those? Now on this one, obviously in my opinion, sack the pet so that way you can get everything else. One thing that's been mentioned to me is like, hey, is it worth it getting those 3 fairies? Just remember this. If you feed fairies that are of the same name to each other, you'll get, I think, what, an extra 50 EXP. So instead of 100, or no, hold on, let me take that back, because I know it's also got to do something with the talent that they're using. It's I think if you just feed it to each other, it should just be a flat 100, and then if it's the same name and talent, it should be 150. Either which way. If you get 3 fairies and you feed the 2, you're going to be a lot further down the road instead of feeding, like, let's say, sniper fairies into anagram, and you only get 10 EXP per sniper fairy. Now, you could do it that way, or you could turn around and you could say, hey, I want to do all 3 of them. Whatever you want to do, that's up to you. But like I said, in my opinion, like I said earlier, I really think for collab stuff, I'm going to grab everything that's collab related and I'm going to hold on to it. So for me, I'm going to grab these 3 fairies. I'm going to sack that pet. I'm going to sack the Mulan Tea. I'm going to sack the batteries. Grab everything else. Hopefully I can. I ain't done the math, like I said. But when it comes to these fairies, I don't know. I don't know if anagram is all that and a bag of chips. All right. So, you know, I'm going to at least level the 1, let it go slowly, call it a day, go from there. But I'll have those 2 for down the road and say, okay, well, you know, I got confirmation from KR Sensei and say, hey, I can sack these 2 and feed it in, or I should keep, you know, maybe 2 and then sack 1 of them. I don't know just yet, but I think that it is going to be a little bit worth to grab anagram. Now, talking about anagram, let's go ahead and look over all the characters for the collab. Now, this is something that I haven't even paid attention to. I ain't looked at these characters. I just know that they're here, they're available to be farmed, and that's it. So this is my first time reading what any of these characters do. I don't know anything about them. I don't know if they're going to be good. I don't know if they're bad. I'm going to just give you my first impression on these characters. If they're right or wrong, it'd be like that, but this is just obviously my opinion for these characters. So, anagram, the tactical fairy we were just talking about. At level 10, in the next battle, her skill says T-Dolls in the front column. Gain 30% evasion, but lose 20% damage. So basically, your SMGs or your tanks or your shotguns, they're going to get 30% evasion. They'll lose 20% damage. That's okay. They're doing slap dig damage anyway. I ain't even worried about it. While the other T-Dolls gain 20% damage, awesome. But they lose 30% evasion. Great. They should never get hit anyway. And that's going to last for, 20 seconds. Now, one thing with this, if you'll notice, at 5-star and at level 100, she's given 25% damage and 65% accuracy. Obviously, she's given 30 accuracy and 8% armor. I think I said 65% accuracy. It's 65% evasion. Anyway, the stats that she gives, I'm not sure how it's applied. Is it the stat bonuses are applied and then they take it away with the skill? Or is it like, because the skill comes in, like you're still overriding it because you're getting more from the stat bonuses, and then it's less than what the skill is taken away. So for instance, the 30% evasion that your ARs would potentially be losing doesn't matter because you're getting 65% evasion from her stats as it is. I don't know how that works, but if it works in favor of us, and it's like, oh, I lost 30% evasion from the skill, but I gained 65% evasion, doesn't matter, I still come out with net gain, hey, we take those. That's pretty good in my opinion. But I don't think that she is going to be so fantastically good that she's going to, jump to the top and say, hey, she's better than, your taunt fairy. She's better than potentially your airstrike fairy or your, what is it, bombardment fairy? It's basically the stronger but slower airstrike, or, the illumination fairy, yada, yada, yada. I don't know if she's going to be any better than those. I don't think she will be, but at the very least, it's interesting. It's interesting. I don't know what type of units we're going to be facing off against in the future, but I do think at the very least having one of them is going to be good. I don't really see the purpose of having 2 or 3 of them maxed out all the way and being like, oh, let me use my anagrams. This is easy clear with them. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening at all. So let's go ahead and move on. And we'll talk about Sai. Sai is going to be handgun. She has a similar tile layout to Grizzly. She's going to give 30% damage, 20% evasion. Her skill is going to grant ally shotguns, SMGs, and handguns a shield with a base HP of 32 points for 5 seconds. The shield gains additional HP based upon the target's missing HP, with the minimum increase being 0.8 times and the max being 1.8 times. When Stella is present, Sai's attacks count towards Stella's passive skill. Now you'll see with this, there are units that work in tandem with each other. Sai said, hey, when she's with Stella, you know, she'll do this. Or when Stella has Sai here, Stella's going to do this. Every character from the collab, minus Anagram because she's a fairy, all have a favorite drink. And that favorite drink comes from Jill. Jill, I'm going to talk about last. So this favorite drink of Sai is going to be, when buffed by a Moonblast, skill takes effect for the duration of the Moonblast, and the additional shield HP gain based upon the target's missing HP is doubled. So basically what I'm reading is there is the shield fairy that procs for SMGs, and I think it's increased per skill level, and it caps out at, you know, a flat XYZ amount. She kind of, like, that's kind of the vibe that I'm picking up. Obviously, it's based off of their missing health, but, you know, the 30% damage, the 20% evasion, those are all fine and dandy. But, you know, I don't know if Stella is, like, farmable. I also don't think that, in my opinion, Sai, you know, a great tile bus, cool. I don't know how I would feel about having, like, a Sai for every single group. Maybe I'd have 2. Obviously, we're going to have 1. We're going to farm for 1. But farming for more than 2, I don't really think I would do that. So I'm not going to say, hey, you should farm for 5 of them or 10 of them or 29 of them. I'm going to go for 2, call it quits there. Her skill is interesting because it's based off of missing HP. So you start that fight, a little bit down the road into the fight. Maybe you're getting dick. Pop her shield, cool. Now maybe that saves you during the fight, maybe it doesn't. But one thing with these characters is that they're all so intertwined with one another. Especially, like I said, with Jill being the mesh that can really boost them all up. So this is I want to talk about this later, but I kind of need to say it now. We only get one Jill. To my knowledge, we only get one Jill. Being able to give XYZ their favorite drink will make them a little bit better. That's obvious. Jill can only make, to my knowledge, one drink per fight because it's based off of her equipment. So me having like 29 Sais and like 29 Stellas to go with them, only one of those echelons is going to get Jill, and that's the one that I'm going to enjoy the most because, hey, I can buff up Sai or I can buff up Stella, and then, you know, let's say, hey, I want to feed it into Stella. Cool, Sai's going to be buffing Stella. Then I'm going to give the favorite drink for Jill, or from Jill to Stella, make Stella maybe a little bit OP. I don't know. That's obviously an example, but I don't see, I just don't think that she's so like, that I'm farming 29 of them. I'm gonna pass on that. I get my 1 for sure. I might get my 2 if I'm feeling nice, and I'll call it a day. But the favorite drink thing and everybody being very, very meshed together is something that I'm sitting here and I'm like, I only got one Jill. I can only use one Psy per team. And so dupes here, just because of the Jill thing and the favorite drink thing, I really don't see super dupe in here for me personally. Moving onward, you know, like I said, we had Psy goes with Stella because she can work with her passive. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at Stella. Stella is going to be a rifle. Her little tile buff, you know, that's basically kind of standard-ish, sort of. Reduces skill cooldown by 18% for those handguns. Okay, fantastic. Now, her ability, active, increased damage by 50% for 5 seconds. Cool. So she's going to be the damage type, kind of like, hey, she's going to increase her own damage. Lee Enfield, M14, G28. Hey, we working with that. Okay, so now her passive. After her puppets attack 16 times, her next attack gains an extra 50% crit damage. Okay, hey, yo, I don't know what her, I don't know what they're talking about by these puppets, man. Are her auto attacks from these puppets? If it is, that must be looking pretty cool. If it's not, don't really know what they mean by the puppet attacks. But I'm just going to assume she's sitting here and she's just got these little puppets just firing off for her. Just because she got all this money, she buys these little puppets and say, hey, y'all going to fight for me. I'm just going to stay here and look pretty. That's what I think it is. So now it says, you know, we say 16 times. The next attack is going to give 50% extra crit damage. Fantastic. Now, when Psy is present, the handgun we just talked about, Stella grants Psy 10% skill cooldown reduction. Does not affect the initial cooldown. Okay, that's cool. So now we can get them shields off a little bit quicker. Fantastic. Now, Stella's favorite drink. When buffed by a bleeding Jane. Remember, we can only use one drink per Jill. We only get one drink, one Jill. So, when buffed by a bleeding Jane, the passive effect only requires 10 attacks to trigger. Now, I don't know if those attacks are in multiples of 2. Are they in multiples of 4? Are they, you know, I don't know how many puppets she's got out on the field at a time. But reducing it from 16 to 10, hey, we take that. I think that's fantastic. So, in my opinion, if I've got Psy and I got Stella and I got Jill and they're all on one team, I'm buffing Stella. Psy, I don't need them shields. Hey, shields are fantastic. They'd be cool. But I'm taking this because, in my opinion, hey, I take them 10 attacks over 16. We'll knock it out a little bit faster just to get some more damage. So, Stella, same thing with Psy. I really do. It's so awkward. If you have one, I really feel like you got to have the other. But then if you have both of them on the same team, you're obviously going to need a Jill there. Well, if you only get one Jill, why would I dupe it? Because I wouldn't use them without a favorite drink, because that is a really nice quality of life change right there from 16 to 10. So, again, it's just so awkward how they're all like, oh, well, if I'm going to use this person, I need to use this person because they go together. Well, then if I have these two in here, then I need to put Jill so I can have a favorite drink. So you're basically, if you use one, you're using 3 from the collab event. So that's just, that. Like I said, these are just my impression. This is my opinion. This is what I'm feeling. I don't know if I'm feeling it right, but hey, we feeling a little something, something. You know what I'm talking about? Now, Alma. Machine gun. Like me machine guns. I like machine guns. Now, she's going to have that tile little buff formation. Hey, y'all can see that. She's going to buff shotguns. Damage by 15%. That doesn't really matter too much. It is nice. Not the biggest thing in the world. But that armor by 15%, we take that every single day of the week. Now, her ability is going to be, she summons 2 drones that each deal 40% damage per hit for 4 seconds. Okay, that's cool. Her favorite drink is when buffed by a Brandtini drone. Oh, excuse me. By a Brandtini, drones last 1% longer. Now, I'm going to just sit here and just make a blind assumption and say that she has tea time as well. For those of y'all who don't know what tea time is, I think that's reload time. I call that tea time. And so I believe she's got tea time as well. I don't know if she does. I ain't seen her fight. I don't even have her from the shop yet because I'm not going to clear everything from the shop until that final day. Now, she's not going to be paired with anybody. Which is a little awkward because I was just sitting back here a second ago saying, oh man, if you got to use one, you got to use three. This is one of those times where, okay, well, maybe she can go with somebody else. But I believe Dana is a shotgun. So then if you got Dana, you pair her with Alma because shotgun machine gun. Then have Jill there. So you got a roundabout way of getting to 3 if you want to do it that way. Because, you can get the mixed drinks in for one of them too, call it a day. I digress. Alma, I think we can only get once from the shop. So you get her, call it a day. That's nice. We'll move onwards. Oh, what did I do there? Let me see. What did I just do? I think I made a mistake. Nope, I did not make a mistake. Okay, we're going to move onwards to Dorothy. Okay, yeah, I didn't make no mistake. We good. We chilling. So, Dorothy, she's going to be an SMG. She's got the unattractive tile buff formation. I'm not a big fan of that one. It's kind of meh because then that kind of forces her to be a main tank. If I want to use her tile buffs, 15% damage, accuracy by 25. Can't complain, can't hate on it too much. I would like Rate of Fire, but here's the difference. She buffs ARs and rifles. This is something very interesting because we ain't got no submachine guns that buff rifles. I think this is just a little step towards those mixed teams that I'm sitting and waiting for. Hey, I'm in the mixed teams waiting room, and we just wait, twiddling my thumbs, just waiting here patiently for it. But I think this is one step into that direction, so that way I don't have to worry. Excuse me, I don't have to worry about having these handguns turn around and fight or tank for me, and hey, they got good evasion, but if they get hit 2-3 times, they out. Maybe she can do a little bit better than that. So that is going to be nice. Let's read her ability, though. So press the toggle between Nano Camo and Murd 113. If I mispronounced that, my apologies. Murd 113, when activated, increases self-damage by 100% and decreases the accuracy of all allies in the same column by 40%. So it also increases, but it increases their evasion by 80% as well. Okay, so let's break this down because I know it got me a little bit, so we're going to break this down. In the same column, so you got this column, this column, this column. So that's what we're talking about. So when she activates Murd 113, she's going to take 100% increased damage. So if she's taking, whatever, it's going to be 100% on top of that. The other allies in that same column, they're going to lose some accuracy, 40% accuracy. Now, in theory, it's only another SMG that's losing it, which they don't really have a high accuracy to begin with, or it's a handgun. They ain't really going to be doing much damage anyway. Okay. So they lose accuracy, but they increase their own evasion or their tankiness, as we could substitute, by 80%. 100% increased self-damage and a minus 40% accuracy for an 80% increase of evasion. I don't know what her number is, but she's got an A rating for evasion. That increased evasion could be pretty damn high. I don't know. But then you pair that up with a TXO skeleton, which gives you even more evasion. She could be a slippery machine gun. So hey, maybe she is the key for excuse me. Maybe she is the key for rifle teams and not AR teams. I don't know, but I do 100% believe that this is really nice. I like this a lot. But let's go to her second ability. because, again, she buffs ARs and rifles. So her second ability is Nano Camo. When activated, increase self-evasion by 100% and decrease the evasion of all allies in the same column. Remember, that's the stacked ones like this. The rows are horizontal, columns are vertical. So she'll increase her self-evasion by 100% and decrease the evasion of all allies in the same column by 40%. But will increase their accuracy by 80%. It says when Dorothy is in the center row, she activates Nano Camo by default and Murd 113 otherwise. To me, I've got handguns who should be tanking, whether it be Wellrod above her or below her, or, I got another SMG, whether it be whoever above her or below her. If she's gonna be my main tank, of course. I don't really like that my off tank is gonna be losing some tankiness. Now there are exceptions to every rule. What if you got Vector there? Okay, I don't want my Vector to, lose that accuracy. Makes sense. But that's a Molotov. That ain't her normal attacks. And from this, it says it's just decreasing their evasion. So me personally, and it increases their evasion. Decreases their evasion, increases their accuracy, Personally, I'm going to be sticking on that Murd 113 every single day of the week. That's just me. That's how I think I would do it. But there could be situations where Nano Camo is a little bit preferred. I don't think I'm going to ever use it, though. We can only get one of her from the shop, so that's okay. But imagine a world where what happens if you have Dorothy? Well, she can buff rifles. Well, guess what? Now we got Stella. Oh, okay, that's cool. Well, guess who's with Stella? Sai is. Well, guess who could be with these three? Jill. Well, now we could just super buff Stella, and maybe Stella does work. I don't know. But the last thing with Dorothy is her favorite drink. When buffed by a piano woman, you reduce the debuff effect of her skill by 50%. That's, hey, that's not too shabby. That's not too shabby. But that means I have to commit onto Dorothy using Jill. Making Jill use the favorite drink for Dorothy. That means I'd have to commit for that. That's a little tough for me to say that it's worth committing, but we are going to move on forward. Next is going to be Dana. She's going to be shotgun. All right. She's only buffing machine guns. I do like her buff tile formation. It's like Type 97S, Captain China. So that's always a nice one to see. Damage by 15%, accuracy by 15%, skill, Crimson Geyser, jump and pound the ground to create a big explosion, dealing 0.6 times damage to enemies within a radius of 2 and knocking them back. Every point of armor increases the damage by 1%. Okay, that's cool. Her favorite drink is when buffed by Big Beer, gain 0.5 points of shield HP per point of armor. Her normal attacks, because she don't use guns, she's a wrestler now. So her normal attacks are launch an exploding rocket punch that deals 1.8 times damage to a single target with a 10% knockback chance. Does not stack with slug ammo. Basically, somebody asked me, who would I rather use between Dana and the other collab one? It was the Guilty Gear Blaze Blue collab one. I don't remember her name off the top of my head. Basically, they asked me, who would I use between Dana and that girl? And I said Dana for Elfelt. They asked me, Elfelt or Dana? And I said Dana for one reason and one reason only. Elfelt's skill animation, when she uses it, I think, let's just say her ICD is like 10 seconds. I think it might be 12, it might be 10, it might be 8. I don't know how fast Dana gets her skill off, but when you're using Elfelt and her first attack or her first skill usage is not that ICD, it's like 3 seconds longer than that, because she sits here, dude. Okay, so let's say you just got the ICD and now you can click her ability. You use her skill and she's over here like, it's like a whole 3 seconds before, dude. And I'm just like, okay, look, your AoE ability looks cool and everything, but it takes you way too long before you even shoot your skill off. I don't like it. It's too long. And so, personally, under the assumption that hers doesn't take 25 years for her to jump and hit the ground, I'm taking Dana over that one factor. Everything else could line up the same. She could probably be better, for all I know, but because it takes her 29 years to use her ability, I don't ever get to use her ability that often. And it looks really freaking cool, okay? And so it makes me sad when all my machine guns blow these dudes up. And then they have to go to tea time, and then she's over here, man, hey, you got a little group ready to be killed. She's over here. By the time she can even get to here and go, they're already back from tea time, and the mobs are dead. And so that infuriates me at how long her skill animation takes for Elfelt. Yeah, I just had to get that out of my chest. Elfelt be pissing me off, man, and she takes forever. So that's why I'm taking Dana over Elfelt. You disagree or agree, I don't really care, because to each their own. And we're going to call it a day on that. Last but not least, we got Jill. And now I'm going to have to look at my in-game client, because that skill right there ain't her skill description. Her skill description is like a book and a half. Okay, so let me go to the index. I'm going to go to specialty dolls, because it should show it to me based off of max skill level. I got mine at 9, but this is going to be 10. Okay, so she's got the contender-like tile where if she's in 5, she buffs everybody. So that's fantastic. She needs that, honestly, because she's going to be in one team, dude. You get one Jill, you get one team, you get one drink. And so you got to pick and choose who you going to buff up. But the fact that it's damage by 40% and accuracy by 40% is a fantastic thing. I like that off the bat. Okay, so let's do this. During battle, Jill takes 3 seconds to mix different drinks depending upon her equipment. Which, by the way, lock her equipment when you get her. Because if you don't, you're screwed. You won't be able to make XYZ drink. And then that's just going to make Jill, like, not optimal. And you don't want to be not optimal. Okay, so 3 seconds to make a drink, depending on her equipment. Each drink grants a different buff to her echelon. That's a very fast way of putting that in the description, because that is very true, and it's a long one. Jill cannot attack. Each point of Jill's base damage stat grants herself 1% skill cooldown reduction. Does not affect ICD, initial cooldown time. Max of 30%. Okay, now, let me go ahead and read off what she does. If you make the big beer, which is Dana's favorite drink for shotguns, it increases shotgun armor by 20% and damage and accuracy by 30% for 8 seconds. That's not bad. That's not bad. Imagine a world where you have Jill, Dana, and let's just say you put AA12. AA12 with her ability, I think she increases her knockback chance. Well, now if you increase her accuracy, she might be knocking back, you know, hey, maybe every 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5 shots. Hey, you never know. So that's not too bad. The big beer, not too bad. The Brandtini, I believe this is Alma's, because Alma's the machine gun. Increases machine gun damage and accuracy by 25% for 8 seconds. That might be 1 round before tea time. I don't know. Maybe the timing of it could be god awful, because maybe that first wave, that first volley from the machine guns, I'm waiting on Jill's initial cooldown skill. Tea time hits, and then it pops. Well, now this 8 seconds is rolling, and then they're just beginning, or maybe they're halfway through tea time. Then they come back. Well, now we only got 3 seconds left of her buff. So now you'd have to manually press her buff. If you don't like manually pressing it, that's going to be annoying as hell, because now you got to press it. But if you don't mind manually pressing it, okay, then that could be good. But for most cases, ideally, these guys should be dead on the first volley. So to me, I'm not really going to make the Brandtini. That's just me personally. Piano Woman. I think the Piano Woman was with the SMG. So who's that? Dorothy, maybe. I think. Increases the front column's evasion by 60% and other positions damage by 20% for 8 seconds. That's very enticing, I'm going to be honest with you. Because it don't matter if your front column is in the 963 or if it's in the, 852? It doesn't matter where they're at. That front column, they're going to get 60% evasion. Everybody behind is getting 20% damage. That Piano Woman, pretty enticing, not going to lie to you. But does it say, for me, like, hey, do I really want to use, who did I say, Dorothy? Do I really want to use Dorothy's skill? I don't know about all that. We'll continue. A Moonblast increases all allies' rate of fire by 22% for 8 seconds. If I remember correctly, and I could just be so far wrong, I think that this is for Stella. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, Stella's is the Bleeding Jane. Who's the Moonfire? Or, excuse me, Moonblast, right? Moonblast is for Psy. Oh, I was going to say, yo, all allies rate of fire by 22%. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm tripping, dude. I'm tripping. That's all allies. But that's for Psy. It's not for Stella. That would have been lit if it was for Stella. Because then she increases her own damage, and then she'll get rate of fire from Jill. That would have been pretty cool. But let's go ahead and move to the Bleeding Jane, because I believe the Bleeding Jane, if I'm not mistaken, I just forgot, is going to... Okay, yes, this is Stella's drink. Okay, so Bleeding Jane increases rifles and assault rifles crit rate by 25%, and 60% of the crit rate over the cap becomes additional crit damage for 8 seconds. Okay, that's cool. I don't know what the crit rate is on the units as far as, like, if they have a maxed out crit scope on top of the Bleeding Jane. I don't know if they go over the crit rate. Maybe they do. If they do go over it, then that additional crit damage, because then you'll be at 100% crit, then that crit damage will kick in. That'd be really nice. That would be. Bleeding Jane. Hey. Bleeding Jane, I like. Big Beer, potentially, I like. Moonblast, not that bad. But from these particular drinks, in my opinion, I'm liking the Bleeding Jane. And so you know what that means. If I like Bleeding Jane, that means I like Stella. If I have Stella, I need to have Psy. If I have Psy and Stella, then they're going to have Jill. Because that's... I got to get the Bleeding Jane from. Then I could turn around and be extra as hell and get Dorothy. That's 4 collab units all on one team. That's pretty cool in my opinion. I like that. But I only get 1 Jill. And I can only make 1 drink. So it'd be like that. That's why I don't think dupes are going to be so important that it's just like, oh! I don't think dupes are important from the collab. That's just my opinion. Then the last drink she makes is the Fringe Weaver. Increases allies' damage by 35% for 5 seconds. After the skill effect ends, become drunk and decrease damage and accuracy by 15% for 3 seconds. Now, I don't really think it, it's great. That first half is awesome. Hey, increased damage by 35%. Let's get it. But then losing accuracy and damage by 15% for 3 seconds is kind of like, I don't know. Because everything else doesn't have a detriment except for this one. And so that's why I'm kind of like, I don't know how I feel about that. But that's just how it is. That's just how it is. So let's just say you don't put a mixed drink on Jill. What is she going to do? Well, her default is called Sugar Rush. Plain and simple, increases all allies' damage by 18% for 8 seconds. Fine and dandy. No detriment on there. It's that full 8 seconds. That's awesome. But just reading it off of her skill list, I'm thinking Bleeding Jane and then Big Beer and Piano Woman. So the rifle AR crit, I think that one's the number one for me. Then I think it's going to be between the Big Beer for shotguns or the Piano Woman for what's her name? The Piano Woman for Dorothy, I believe. I think it's going to be between them two right there. I think Big Beer is just a little bit on top. But that's how I would run with my Jill. The cool thing with Jill, though, is she can be changed and used in a variety of ways for different playstyles. And so just because I see Jill being used in this way, by all means, she may be better being used this other way. I don't like that playstyle because that ain't my playstyle. Or maybe I don't have the characters for that playstyle, but I got the characters for this playstyle. And so now Jill fits perfectly in my own world or in my own team composition. And so that's one thing that I really like about this, these collab characters, especially Jill. She just brings so much to the table. She is that mesh for all of these characters. I think is fantastic, and I definitely think, by all means, if they gave us more Jills, the game would be broken. And so I think it is good that they only gave us one Jill, because then, man, you'd have like every Jill in the world on every team. Obviously, I'm over exaggerating, but I like that we only get one Jill. We only get one mesh of glue because they're saying pick. And so that also tells me I ain't got a dupe farm 29 years, and that makes me happy. And so now, before we move forward, I just want to talk about the collab just real quickly. Just say a few words about it before we move onwards. I didn't have a good picture for it, so to be honest with you, I forgot a picture about it. But I just want to talk real quick. We'll just use this picture. Looks good. We'll use this picture right here. So real quick, just thoughts about the collab, man. I thought the collab was really cool. I said this earlier. I wish we made more mixed drinks. Maybe there was a timed event thing. You got to make these amount of mixed drinks in this amount of time. I thought that would have been awesome. I really, really like that mechanic, that gimmick in the game. It really just felt nice to be in the game, not farming one map over and over and over, and not even really killing anything, just making mixed drinks, man. It just felt relaxing. Then, turning around and, saying, well, I need this drink that does this. I don't know what drink does that, so I had to make like 10 different drinks before I got it right. I thought that was really cool. The intel points, again, I thought those were cool as well. Instead of just blowing through it real fast, they gonna make you take your time, forcibly, manually click through those stories, make those drinks, man. I thought that was really nice. The music, dude. Music is always. I ain't been in an event where the music was trash, dude. This music was popping. And I was watching KR Sensei's stream one time, man. She was just listening to the OST of the music, just jamming, and I was like, "Yo, was this music really this good?" And dude, hey, y'all get a chance, man. Check it out. It's fire. Music was great. Story was great. My only complaint, like I said, I just wanted to make more mixed drinks. I think that's a good complaint to have about a collab. You know, I think that was a really well done collab. And so, who knows what they're gonna have in the future? Might have something, you know, maybe they have like a part two, or maybe we get to make more mixed drinks. I'm just gonna keep on talking about mixed drinks, but I thought that was really cool. I really had a great time with it, and I hope y'all do too. If you read the story, fantastic. If you don't read the story, that's up to you. I don't really care. So last but not least is gonna be the Q&A time. Now, this Q&A, think about something. It was for, I missed July, so I read those. I missed August. This is August. So I read July, I read August. I wasted my time. I mean, there was one that was like, are you going to support phones that are like bendable or flippable? Like, apparently there are phones that have like a screen on here and a screen on here. And I was like, okay, that sounds pretty fucking cool. That's like the only thing, like that was like the only question that was like, hey, that sounds like a cool ass phone. Hey, are y'all really gonna support that? Because that just sounded pretty cool. Aside from that, most of the questions are just slap dick. There wasn't really anything in my opinion that I was like, oh my god, that was such a good question. I gotta make sure I talk about that question. Nah. Haven't had any of those questions in a while. But yeah, that's it. So now, if there's anybody in Twitch chat, this is a live broadcast. If there is anybody in Twitch chat, y'all got any questions for me? By all means, let's do it up. If y'all ain't got any questions for me, we gonna do it up anyway. So yeah, Twitch chat, I'm all yours, dude. Nice little episode, dude. Honestly, I didn't know how long I was gonna talk. I know how long I was gonna be here for the for this podcast, which kind of surprised it was this long. Okay, I think a lot of it was about Jill though, and like the characters. But out of 10, what would I rate this event? That's a good question. The EX modes weren't really like super hard. You just had to use your brain. And so as long as you're competent, in my opinion, you could do it relatively easy, assuming you had the characters done, of course, or characters ready, not done. A big thing for it, in my opinion, was mixing drinks. Okay, I ain't mixed that many drinks. I'm gonna say like a 7, a low 7. I'm salty about that. Let me be real with you. I think the story is fantastic. I think the story was like a high 8. I think the music was a 10. I think the characters are lit. But mixing drinks, unfortunate, man. I thought we mix like 10 drinks, if that. It was unlucky. Have you played Valhalla? No? Does it look like I got money for games, bro? Crazy. When are you farming Sai and Stella before the event ends? Probably gonna be this week because I should finish Shadowbringers today. Well, no, I don't know if I'm gonna play it today. I should finish Shadowbringers tomorrow or on Tuesday. If I play today, I should finish it tomorrow. If I don't play today, I should finish it by Wednesday. So I'll probably be farming it on like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which I'll probably farm it at work too on my lunch break. So it shouldn't be that bad, but not too worried. Who's the most waifu out of all the collab dolls? Let me see. Not you. Okay, I feel like there's only like 2 acceptable answers here. Oh, excuse me, 3. I think it's going to be Stella, Alma, or Jill. I personally am an Alma. Yeah, I'm on that Alma bandwagon. There we go. But I think Jill, I think she's right up there. I think Stella, right under there. Jill Bros have a few questions on your choice. I mean, okay, ask. I'm waiting. This is Twitch chat's time to ask. Not Dorothy feels bad, man. What does Dorothy look like? To each their own, brother. That ain't me. That ain't my cup of tea. I'm gonna have to pass. There are rumors. You misspelled rumors about you being a part timer. True or false? I don't know. I've got all my characters leveled up. I've got them skilled up. Only thing I need is equipment, and I've been farming. What's that called? No. Digidaroo is the first map. I get some decent equipment fodder. I don't know, Chief. I'm just saying, off of this event alone, where I had a bunch of +5s, they +10s now. We'll do it. You do with that information what you will, but that's actually a great question, because I do want to talk about that. Whenever GFL has something for me to do, it takes priority over Final Fantasy XIV, which, as the people who do watch me when I play 14 or lurk when I play 14, please talk about GFL if you want to talk about it. But GFL, during downtime like this, where, hey, it's a collab. Okay, I finished the entirety of the collab. I'm going to save farming the character for later, because there's no ranking event, right? So, I'll get the character. Okay, but what happens if I just did that, the story, the entirety, day 1, and then the character farm in day 2? I would literally have nothing else, no rhyme or reason for me to go back to GFL, because I've got way more than enough characters leveled and skilled up, and the only thing that I need is equipment fodder and fairies, and that's it. So for me, unless there's a reason for me to be playing, I'm going to be playing something else. Now, like I said, it takes priority. If a new event comes out, like let's say, for instance, there was like Singularity. When Singularity comes out, 14 is going to be on the back burner, because 1, there's story. 2, I'm sure there's going to be characters involved to farm. And then 3, there's ranking. If there's ranking, the way that it's going to take precedence is completely different when there's an event without ranking. Because, as you can tell, I've postponed farming these characters. But when it comes to this, when it comes to a ranking event, that's going to be a little different. So, am I part-time? Am I not part-time? I don't know. It's just the end user's definition of part-time. If that makes me part-time, I am. If it doesn't make me part-time, I'm not. But like I said, I don't need to level any characters, so I'm not worried about it. That map dropped some good fodder and green. Dude, Digidaroo, that first map, I can't tell you how many green items, or excuse me, green equipment fodder that I've gotten. It's a lot of green equipment fodder. So, like, yeah, while it is nice doing free runs and you only got to do 5 of them, I'd much rather do, like, 10 runs, get a lot of equipment, and get my daily, quest runs done all at one time, and it take just a smidge bit longer. I'd take those. I think it's better. That's just me. Be like that. But yeah. That's just me. If y'all got any other questions, man, y'all feel free to ask. Otherwise, we chilling, man. We chilling. Otherwise, I'll wrap it up, and then we'll go from there, and we'll see. We'll see what the business is. But Valhalla, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what event comes out. Character-wise, I'm prepared. I don't need to sit here and level on 0-2 24/7. I did all that. I'm done with that. So we chilling. So now, until there's an event that's like, oh hey, it's time for me to go and play it, GFL's gonna be on the back burner. But until that new thing does come around, it will take precedence and it will take priority, and we'll get it done. How am I doing, Chief? I'm good, man. I'm a little hot underneath this hoodie. I don't know why. I know why I'm wearing the hoodie. I'm wearing the hoodie because it's a Twice hoodie, and I fucking love Twice. But I'm hot, so I'm gonna take this off after I finish this podcast, and then I'll probably play a little bit of 14 because I'm gonna play 14. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'm gonna call it Dunzo as far as the podcast is concerned. Guys, I do appreciate y'all tuning in for episode 10 of Shikikan Frontline. Of course, this will be uploaded to YouTube, or if you are viewing it on YouTube, this was streamed at twitch.tv/Tuglow. Y'all can, hey, throw me a bone, man. Hit me up with a follow. If you do have Amazon Prime and you aren't currently using it, you can connect it to your Twitch account and then subscribe over at twitch.tv/Tuglow for free, and it will help me monetarily, get me some monetary support, which I greatly appreciate. But aside from that, this was episode 10 of Shikikan Frontline. If you do want to see more GFL content here on YouTube, feel free to hit that subscribe button, and potentially some Final Fantasy 14 content. I actually have a YouTube video on my mind for Final Fantasy 14, so stay tuned for that. But that's gonna wrap up this this podcast episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am Tuglow. Appreciate it. Y'all take it easy. Y'all have a good one. I'll see y'all in the next episode of Shikikan Frontline for GFL. Thank you so much for watching. Much love. God bless. Peace out.